This frequency that you are specifically speaking about, that is in alignment with what you call the rapture, is quite interesting as an idea that light would come and Christ would appear. And in that appearance of such a bright light, there would be a rising, and many would begin to lift off of the ground, and those who were dead would rise from the dead and ascend into the heavens, and many others would be left behind. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Kelly, known as the Angel Lady, and I'm happy to be here with all of you on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon at 3 o'clock New York time, like we always do. And we are here to gather to choose a higher timeline, to stay in a high vibration, to stay focused on the vision of love. If you are listening to this on YouTube and you want to join our community and be filled in this vibration and frequency of light, then just you can subscribe and you can get an email and then you can come on and ask your own questions. So we're so happy to have you all here, and we're all doing this together, right? We're in it together. So today I will channel the Angel Raphael as I have been doing for the last 37 years. When I do that, I make these toning sounds, and then my hands kind of move like this all over the place, and my eyes are closed, and I rock back and forth. Um, and so that's just how it goes. That's how I channel. That's how the energy and I blend, and I move into that frequency and bring Raphael's messages to all of you. Remember that the questions that you are to ask are universal. They are not personal. They are to support the collective as a whole, and no follow-up questions, just your one question, okay? So I think we'll just get started with that, unless Casey, you have anything else?
No, that's it. So
That's
I'll ask a couple questions, and then if you guys have your cameras on, most likely I'll call on you as long as you haven't asked too many questions in the past.
Hmm, okay. Here we go. So if everyone could just take a nice deep breath and come into the presence of this now moment, dropping into the heart, letting all the stress of the day just fall away, coming into a coherent field, bringing in the archangels, the beings of light, opening up my vessel as Kelly to receive the highest transmission possible, to be of service in the best of my capacity for all of you in this now moment. And so it
So it
is. Ah. Ah. Oh, 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 hello.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Oh, oh. We are very delighted, as always, to be here and to attune to all of you in this way as we are opening our hearts and pouring light into all of yours, inviting you to feel this presence inside and to step into a frequency of light. We are understanding that there is something in which you're wanting to talk to us about, and so what is it?
Hi, Raphael. So there's so many interesting things going on in the world today. I thought I'd ask a couple questions before we open up. And something that I saw on social media today is that apparently there are some people that believe today is the rapture. And so I'm curious, is there any truth behind these viral doomsday predictions or anything that we can take away from hearing about that there's so many people that believe in the rapture?
Oh, Well, we are listening to what it is that you are saying, and it begins with the fact that you are looking on social media. And we are reminding all of you that a lot of information that is coming in and penetrating your field has and is designed to perpetuate fear and to create what we would call a hook in, and it can begin to capture one's attention and frequency that spirals them through algorithms of information and prophecies of scenarios that are related to doomsday ideas. However, this frequency that you're specifically speaking about, that is in alignment with what you call the rapture, is quite interesting as an idea that light would come and Christ would appear. And in that appearance of such a bright light, there would be a rising, and many would begin to lift off of the ground, and those who were dead would rise from the dead and ascend into the heavens, and many others would be left behind. And so, metaphorically, there is something occurring on your planet right now. There is a heightening of frequency. There is more light descending on the planet. Your molecular structure is moving at a more rapid pace. You are spinning up. You are attuning to your light body, a garment of light, should we say. And that light is connecting and raising your frequency. And so you are, in a sense, lifting because you are energetically moving into higher octaves that are moving at a faster speed and with more light and less density, and parts of yourself that are in a heavier frequency are falling away or are being, in a sense, left behind. But it is that there is not something that is appearing that will perhaps save you, because this beautiful frequency that is spoken of as Yeshua and the magnificent energy and love and beauty and teachings within his heart center that has permeated through the field of the collective consciousness may be rising, returning, but not in the Messiah as it appears in the sky, but inside your own hearts as you become the living flesh, as you become the living garment of light and ascend, yes, or are raptured, yes, into higher octaves. However, when it is then attuned to doomsday or end times perhaps is the end of a way of perception, a way of living, a way of being that is no longer. And so that too is happening right now. Many things that were or felt familiar have become shaky underneath your feet. Deception, shifts, changes in your perception of your reality is ending, and you are ascending into a garment of light. You are rising, and your vibration is emanating more light. And so, from a metaphoric standpoint, in relationship to what is occurring on an energetic level on the planet, yes, this is true. Is it specifically targeted on a specific date or specific day? No, just as when we are speaking of the culmination of energy that is coming to a close during the spring equinox and then is opening, where new timelines are being born and energy is pouring in at the winter solstice. It is not that on that day, at that moment, in that second, that there will be an instantaneous shift, but it means that a momentum of energy is descending upon the planet due to the fact that so many are choosing through their consciousness to place their energy and attention into a higher timeline and to be diligent in their focus and in their vision, in their forward thinking, in their energy, in their speaking, in their thoughts, in their vibration to elevate and take a quantum leap in consciousness. And so these quantum leaps that occur throughout time, in your perspective of time that happen over certain periods of time. And there is a door, a threshold, an opening that takes place. And so when one comes up with specific dates, these are pinpoint energies where possibilities as the timelines converge for a quantum leap in consciousness occur. And yet, in the moment of a specific day, one may or may not feel the effects of that particularly, but will feel the momentum over it over a period of time, similar to that of perhaps feeling the energy of the planets or an eclipse. And then as it passes, a lifting in the energy field as you have moved through a difficult time. But it is not in an exact moment, although at times, sometimes it feels that way as you recently moved through this eclipse season. And as it passed, there was a lifting in the frequency and in the consciousness. And so, however, from the beginning of your sentence of this was something that you found through social media, we all encourage you, as we have been and continue to spend less and less time on platforms and more time in nature and together and in community and with one another and in the intention of what it is that you are focusing on, what it is that you want to create, what timeline you want to be on, and where it is that you want to be.
Thank you, Raphael. And additionally, lots of people are coming together at this time, and there are these mass protests and risings in this way. And a lot of it does seem to be fueled by outrage. And my question is, how can we take this collective outrage and channel it into lasting transformation?
Well, these protests that you are seeing will be rising all across your planet. And there will not be a lot of coverage of this in your media to the extent as to what they are happening. But much of the coverage will be on that in which is at times fueling this, although that is not necessarily its intent. And it is that when one can come together, sometimes outrage is needed as a fuel to propel one forward to the releasing of energies within their own field that are mirroring that which they are outraged by, in order to shed those frequencies and to elevate into higher ones. And through commonality of connection in collaboration, or what you call protesting, in which we are not perhaps would love for that word to be shifted so that it is not so much against something, but for something. That in that that will be a wave of energy that you will be seeing rapidly unfolding on your planet, and is the part of a frequency that is moving collectively toward an opening of something, to a changing of what we've been sharing recently in our speaking to all of you, of a changing of the guard, of a collapsing of what has been, including in leadership, including in ideology, including in many systems. And it is that in the forward thinking of pushing against something through outrage, it is extraordinarily important that a solution toward the creation of something else is presented, and that the energy is moving in that direction, not simply against something, which just amplifies it more and creates more division. However, it is that through peaceful protesting, through the centeredness within the own heart, from a radiant place of love, not against something, but for unity and for compassion and for understanding and for love, and even compassion and love for the enemy or the one in which one is protesting against is the absolute highest frequency, that in that steadfast conviction toward one's compass of their own integrity, and a willingness to not waver from that knowingness within their being in alignment with truth and with love for the human rights, and for compassion for all human beings on the planet, that energy, no matter how much force pushes against it, will always prevail, will always be stronger, because it's energetically so much stronger than any armored frequency or any bomb or anything of this sort, because that cannot be executed or carried out unless those who are perceived as perhaps the workers or the ones that carry out the orders obey. And so, as this steadfast, strong energy that is collective in the human collective of choice toward the creation of something new that is not wavering in its conviction, becomes an armor of light. And the other energy then becomes enfolded and embraced within it, and it begins to collapse because it is simply a traumatized, wounded energy that then is enfolded, embraced within the other energy, and it becomes unified as a whole.
I love that, Raphael. And can you remind us again? I think you said it, but I might have missed it, of what the new word for what you're talking about is other than protest. What would be what you call that, of people coming together with a solution, moving forward to bring unity, love, compassion, etc. What would you call that rather than a protest?
A love fest.
Awesome. And I think I'll open it up. I actually want to say one more thing, because I just want to clarify something that you said earlier, that a lot of people who are protesting something, when they go to protest, they're actually releasing the mirror of what they're protesting against in their behavior and ultimately shedding that energy. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Am I catching that right?
Well, we are not discouraging protesting or love festing, because it is an energy inside that begins to feel an outrage towards something that is being mirrored within their reality that they are against. But it creates a momentum and an energy to start to move the creative force where it had been in a complacent state before, toward what it is that they are wanting to create, and they come in commonality with others that are wanting to create whatever that may be. But it is that in doing so, that in which they think they are moving against, as it becomes highlighted and light begins to shine upon it, it begins to move into dissolution. It becomes alchemized, harmonized, and released. However, it is important that in the steadfast frequency in which we are speaking of, you begin to soften the hearts of those perhaps in which you are protesting against, when it is coming from a specific frequency. And then in that softening, that in which you're pushing against collapses and is enfolded, and it is almost as if that which you're pushing against joins you in your march, the march toward love and unity, as you are holding a candle in the frequency of love. And it is that when you are singing the song of love, for unity, without it being attached to an ideology or a thought or a belief, but simply for a union of commonality in different races, in different parties, in different ways of perception and thinking, and recognizing what is it inside all of you that is vibrating at the same space, and finding that frequency and holding that, then you're not necessarily pushing any longer against anything, and that which you thought you were pushing against begins to join you until as a human race, you are all moving rapidly toward the same place. Because underneath all of the thought processes and the programming and the algorithms in which you are perceiving certain scenarios and looking at them from different lenses and having different opinions, as you keep stripping away all of that and you get down to the core inside the essence, the most of the time, the direction or the wanting comes from the same place. The commonality resides there. And when you can find that within one another, even in the someone in which you would be opposed to completely, in terms of a mirrored reflection of your ideology or thought processes, that is where the true healing takes place. That is where the merging occurs. And that is where the unification takes place. And that is where anything in which you think you're all both pushing out and against collapses within itself, as if it all begins to fold inward. And then you are operating from a whole new paradigm, an entire new field of light. However, we understand that that is somewhat abstract in the unfolding of your human experience in this now moment, as you are witnessing so many things that are creating within your own energetic field outrage. And so we understand that that outrage has its purpose at this time, and it is invoking movement and change within your fields towards something new.
Excellent, Raphael. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that clarification. So I'm going to allow you guys to unmute. Brian, you're up. Can you unmute? I think you should be able to.
Hello.
Brian, can you unmute? Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
sorry, did you say Brian?
Yeah, Brian.
Oh,
Yeah.
I misunderstood you. Hey. All right, hello.
Hello.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hello.
So I'm curious about two optical phenomenon. There's one that I've been experiencing where I will squint into sunlight that's been diffused by either tree branches or leaves, and I'll start to see what look like microscopic images of cells and veins. So I don't know what I'm seeing, and I think other people can see this. I just haven't heard much about it. And then the second phenomena is when you stare into, I guess, blurs in your field of vision. Some people think of them as like floaters, but they're not. There's like something different going on, and it turns into this field of lights, like fireflies, and sometimes the lights will actually spin and spiral. And
Mhm.
so there's like scientific explanations to this, but I think there's something more. And I'm curious, like, what is it? What are we seeing? And how can this help us?
Well, you are seeing me. And I am very happy that you can see me, for most of you cannot. It is that there are energies, such as myself, that are here, that are not seen through your perception of your vision, through your retina, but sometimes your peripheral vision can relax enough into a spaciousness in which these appearances take place, and you can relax enough into it to have new perceptions that can come in different geometric formations and patterns, and even, as you were saying earlier, like microbes or cells, which are perceived or used in your language as floaters and spirals of energy. And these are bleed throughs from other dimensional realities that are operating and are perceived in different formations that are coming into your experience, and that the light is helping you with this. And so we are encouraging you to practice with this and to work with this. And in doing so, this will amplify and continue more so, and you will see more of it.
I think we got the answer to that question. Brian, you feel good about that?
I'm kind of curious. Is the cells? Are there something we can do with the cells? Like when I'm see, are they cells, and can we like use it to help us understand? Is it our biology? I know we're not supposed to do follow-up questions, but
Oh,
I'm
yes.
like very
There,
curious about. Yeah.
there are two things in which you are asking. One is within the floaters, you are tapping into other parts of reality, but also as you are seeing these cells mirrored in the eye, they are parts of your own physical biology that are speaking to you, in which you can come into connection, communication, and relationship to through these practices if you were wanting. This is something that many people experience, but do not give the time of day to, and just simply think that it is something floating in the retina there. But it is also something that you can come into a relationship and into communication with. Oh. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello, hello. What is it?
All right, we're gonna move on to our next question with Ellen.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Casey. Hi, Miss Kelly. Hi, everyone. My question has to do with our relationship with animals slash pets and how that will change as we become more telepathically inclined to interact with them. And one of my biggest question is, how will that shift their idea of ownership?
Well, it is not how they will shift this idea of ownership. It is how you all shift this idea of ownership, where this is a made-up construct where you do not own them, of course, but you have come into soul contract and relationship with them. And in doing so, there is an agreement at the soul level, and they have agreed to come into relationship, especially animals that are domesticated that come inside the home and are thought of as your pets, are part of your soul family. And there is a coordination, should we say, in a sense, in your relationship prior to incarnation. And you are working and sharing and exchanging much together and will continue to do so. As you move as a species and are evolving at a rapid pace, as this is our perception as we are witnessing this from where it is that we are, your connection of telepathic communion and attunement and communication with one another will continue to amplify, and the animals will come in closer to you, as you will notice as you are walking in the woods or spending time in nature for longer periods of time and beginning to attune to these frequencies, that there is not such a need for a deer, let's say, or a rabbit or a squirrel to run off, perhaps in the way it has before, but will stop and really look at you. And an opportunity for connection and communication is more possible than ever before, as well as with, of course, the dolphins and the whales and all living animals and species on your planet, because just like you, they too are moving through this quantum leap and their own evolution, and are often your teachers and your guides and here to assist you. And as you begin to adopt and relate again more and more to original teachings and indigenous ways of being and connecting, your relationship to them in their way of connecting with you, of course, will become deeper and more profound. But they also are guides in which they can move you in a specific direction by their sound, by where perhaps they are flying overhead or turning back to look at you or showing up at a specific time and guiding you. And are systems of awareness, and they are very attuned to planetary shifts and changes in which they can bring warnings for you, and from their behavior to begin to bring you into awareness of something that may be preceding an event of a shaking, an earthquake, a tsunami, etc. And so the stronger your bond and connection with the animal kingdom, the better for all of you at this time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, what is it? Hello. Hello. Oh, oh.
Daisy, you're muted.
I'm muted. Jorika.
Hello.
Hello, hello. Ah, there is a bit of interference occurring today. Oh, what is it?
I I should have psychically heard my voice, I guess. My name. Um, anyway, I am wondering if you can talk any more about the quantum healing that is coming our way, that you have referenced in the Violet Flame series, and specifically wondering about like the tachyon technology, which I just learned about yesterday.
Well, there are two types of timelines of healing that are rapidly approaching. And one, which we are speaking of quantum healing, that is coming online, that many of you will be directed toward as the traditional medical technologies and ways of being will become more and more obsolete in a sense, and simultaneously much more prevalent. So there are two things that are happening. You have a current system that is outdated, that has forgotten to connect with the essence of the whole person, and is very mechanistic, and does not have much in its toolbox other than synthetic prescriptions. And this specific way of healing, like many systems, is going to recede into the distant past. And quantum healing that is connected to observing and attuning to the entire body, to the auric field, to the emotional field, to a way to perceive and sense something even before it descends into the physical form where it is starting to originate within the emotional body, will be able to be detected. A healing will occur through sound, through color, the specific energy that you are speaking of modalities of energies coming in from other systems to be of assistance in healing and bringing coherence within the energetic body, will become more and more powerful and more prevalent as it comes more online, in which it will. Simultaneously, there will be technology that will be developing at a very rapid pace, that is artificial intelligence, that will be able to diagnose someone at a more rapid pace, and will also have solutions that many of them will require an interfacing with the technology for the solution. And at first, this might appear to be benevolent and wonderful, because it will help people with all different kinds of things. However, we are cautioning you about this particular timeline, because this interfacing with these technologies in the physical body is a slow, gradual movement toward a connection in which a loss of the a capacity for miraculous and biological healing, that simultaneously will be growing as rapidly and as quickly on an energetic level, although not necessarily perceived in the same way at first, from the artificial, because it will be mirroring one another, will eventually surpass the artificial. And so the encouragement is to remain in one's sovereignty in connection to this quantum healing that we are speaking of, this miraculous healing and this energetic healing, while, if needed, to cross-reference or use the tool of diagnosis, perhaps from the artificial intelligence, if that is helpful, but to be very careful in the interfacing between the technology that is synthetic and the human biology. And so there will be many rapid changes coming within the next 6 to 24 months, and many decisions to be made around many different things as these timelines are coming in rapidly and converging. And my mission as Archangel Raphael is my attunement to Kelly as I have arrived to work with her vibration, and of course vibrations of beings all over the planet, but through this vessel is to attune to a timeline and a vision that is moving you collectively in your evolution in a natural way, maintaining a sense of your own consciousness toward an evolution of a unity frequency that supports you in maintaining a very high vibration and stepping over and through a threshold, through a passageway into a high timeline that then moves into a frequency which you begin to see the beauty, the synchronicity, the magic, the love, the abundance, the unification of your surroundings, of your experience, of your world. And so that is the energy in which we are moving toward. And there will be many distractions that will come in, and some will be very powerful and enticing, and they will appear at first to be so innovative and wonderful. But we want to caution in the medical world to utilize certain tools as tools, but not to see them as gods, or to have the capacity for immortality, or to take consciousness out of body, or to store consciousness, or to interface through the eyes or in the brain or even in the heart, because this is one timeline that then many will spiral through, which ultimately all leads to the final convergence of source itself. And so there is not a wrong way, but it is a one that is a bit distracting, and it can tumble into a losing of a sense of self, in which the pathway toward and the return to source is more meandering, should we say, than a straight path forward.
Thank you, Raphael. Rosine.
Well, isn't that something? No wonder.
Rosine? Who's
No
on?
wonder. Hello.
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 Hello. Thank you. My question also has to do with quantum healing. I've been an energy healer in this lifetime for about 30 years, using my hands, my voice, just intuitively working. And a few sessions ago, you were speaking to a woman who was asking about her condition, why it hadn't healed, and you suggested a 41-day affirmation of allowing the quantum field to descend into the physical body. And so it got me wondering, because I've been feeling like there was something I was sort of missing with my work in the last couple years. Like, okay, what else is it that I need to be knowing or doing? And so I started kind of exploring with this and using that, what you had told her, for myself and my own healing. But I'm very curious about the quantum field and how, how it relates to what I've been doing, or where I would be going as an energy healer. And that's, yeah, just that.
Oh. Well, it is that your work has been powerful and profound and has helped many. But it is important to remember that you can only help someone to the point in which they are able energetically to accept whatever it is that they are is coming in, and a wanting on an energetic level to take that quantum leap into the wholeness of their own healing. For it is a partnership. And there has to be an energetic willingness to take a leap forward. And often when one is seeking healing, they are thinking that they are really wanting healing, but on a deeper level, there is something that they are receiving from their dis-ease or disorder that is creating safety for them, or is propelling them to in a direction where they find over time that they look back on it as a beautiful blessing, because it has directed them to do different things or meet new people, or propel them in ways in which they have had to change. And so deciding or understanding what healing actually means and the definition of it can at times feel a bit complicated, because even if one maintains in the dis-ease state, they can be healed emotionally on an energetic level and then allow the body to fall away. But they are healed, and others who perhaps appear healed because from an external perspective, they are have not made the changes that were needed within their energetic body. The disease itself returns and the healing had not occurred. So there are different perspectives and ways to perceive whether one is healed or not, and what exactly it is that that means, other than the removal of symptoms in which one is experiencing. In terms of your connection and attunement to the quantum field and its ability, it is that within the quantum field, as we move through the layers of the energetic body in which anyone is working on, you reach a state of purity in which there is a full harmonization and no discordant energy within the energetic body in the quantum field, where it is in its completeness and wholeness of its biological form, its emotional form, its mental form, and its spiritual form, in which there is no distortion. As you attune to that and the layers between that whole space and the space of the more densified form of any programs that are up and running can begin to be collapsed. You can merge within the quantum field that original state with the state within a more densified field, and you can experience what would be perceived from one's perspective as quantum or miraculous healing. However, that requires a deep willingness and a faith and a knowingness within that being that is wanting to heal that it is so, which would also require the collapsing of certain programs and thinking, and on part of the practitioner as well, to be a facilitator to merge the energy within that quantum field with the original body state in order for them to blend into one field, in which creates harmonization. And so working through the affirmation of the affirmment and attunement to that energy in its wholeness draws it in closer. And as it is drawing in closer, pop-ups of holograms that are holding energies in the quantum field that are maintaining specific frequencies, stories, traumas, wounds that are seeking attention, love, etc., in order for them to collapse into the whole, will pop up. And it is through the practitioner's capacity then can mirror those energies so that love can be brought to them, and within the field themselves they become dissolved, creating or dissolving a barrier within the wholeness of the quantum field and the physical body and form in which it is in at this time.
Thank you. Awesome. Marianne, that's our last question for tonight.
Okay. Okay, am I there?
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello, Raphael. Thank you so much for taking my question, and just huge gratitude for what you and Kelly do. It's just so profound. Thank you. My question is, how can we best help or support longtime partners or family members as dementia starts to begin to take hold?
Oh, oh,
Mm.
well, we want to remind you that although the word that all of you use of dementia creates sadness because it is a slow loss of cognitive thinking and connection to someone that you love deeply, as if you're slowly losing them to somewhere else. But we want to also remind you that as you are losing them to somewhere else, they are gaining access to something else. And they are tuning to a different field. It is a particular way of transitioning of a bridge between worlds. And through that bridge, there is a lot of work that they are doing on an energetic level between the realms that is not always understood from the perspective of the loss at the time in a practical way of one in which one loves and the perception of the difficulty that it causes them and their loved ones. To support them is to simply be present, completely present with them where they are and how they are, and not to fight against it. So if there is a repetitive thought or thinking of something or saying something perhaps out loud that is simply appears to be not true or has been repetitive, not to fight against it, but to simply be present with it, not necessarily to anchor it in as truth, but to listen and nod one's head in acknowledgement that that is what is being heard or understood, and to hold their hand and guide them through this transition. And perhaps if their cognitive thinking is still present and aware enough during and before transition to even discuss the fact that they are bridging worlds and that they have chosen through this particular experience that they are having to open up their state of consciousness to tap into other places and worlds and to have strong intention that through the transition into these spaces, what it is that they'll be doing and working and operating and connecting to and who they'll be connecting to and for what purpose, so that they can feel a sense of direction and confidence in their own unfolding and process and intent that is intended within it and your intention for them in that process as they move through this change and transition, which will eventually lead to the dissolution of the physical form as they will merge into that in which they are starting to merge into through consciousness itself. Although recognizable that this is painful and hard for loved ones at the time, and it is all part of their soul contract and connection and communication and relationship with one another through the unfolding of this process.
Thank you, Raphael. Oh, sorry, Marianne, I muted you. Sorry. Thank you, Raphael, and that's all for today.
Oh, all right. We have one request. We are very attuned in recent days and weeks to the cosmic mother, divine mother energy, and are encouraging you to attune to this vibration and allow yourself during sleep time to move into a fetal position and to feel a blanket of beautiful pink light wrapping around you, softening your field, softening the edges, and beginning to heal anything within the electromagnetic field that is being bombarded by the influx of electricity and energies coming in from your phones and televisions and computers, and a softening of that frequency as it returns to more of an organic vibration, a deep connection to the elements, the elementals, and the earth itself, as you are held in this blanket of light. And as you feel that softening and opening within your field, we are asking of you to open that space even wider within yourself and to invite any children that may energetically be aligning with you, either within your family or strangers in places or countries or who are in difficult situations, who are experiencing fear or suffering or hunger, and to soften their field by inviting them into that blanket and blanketing them with love. It is of importance right now to love the children and to support them and to honor them and to bring a sense of ease to them, and also supporting them from less engagement in the electronic field and more attunement to the natural world. And so, with that, we send to you all of our love and all of our light from the angelic realm. Many blessings today. Much love and good day.
Love, love.
Aww. Hmm. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining today. I'm sorry we had a few poor guy asking about the floaters and things. I sorry that I was a little bit distracted during that, but glad that we all got to get together today, as we always do. I'll see you next Wednesday. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend, and thanks for popping on. And please share the love with everybody. All right? Okay. Much love, everybody. Have a good weekend. Take care.